Okay, so maybe let's start out with a little background. My husband, 39, and I, 36, female, first met when I was right out of college in a new city. He swept me off my feet, and from our first date, it was magic. We married 3 years after that, and now we have an 8-year-old daughter. We both work pretty great jobs, and between caring for our daughter and work responsibility, we're both busy people. But he always made time for me and treated me like royalty, even when I didn't do the same. Around the beginning of 2019, I became familiar with one of my coworkers, Nick. He's about my age and has a wife and 3 kids of his own. Nick and I started so innocent. We would go out to work outings together and sit close by and talk. I started sitting in his lap and we had some light touching, but nothing too severe. I guess he reminded me of when my husband and I were young. There was a passion in Nick's eyes that drew me close to him. Eventually, we started sleeping together. I knew during the whole time it was wrong, but I pushed through, never once thinking about the impact it could have on my husband. This morning started off as usual. My husband gets into the shower before me every day, and I snooze before I have to hop in too. He mentioned last night that he was going to stop by Costco on the way home from work today. So I grabbed my husband's phone so I could add to the shopping list a few things that I wanted. I know my husband's iPhone lock code, so I went into the Notes app to add what I wanted. And when I opened the app, it opened to a folder with dates listed on it. The date started the first week of March and continued unabated until last week. I curiously opened one of the dates, and to my shock, it was a diary. I never knew my husband as the type of person to write out his thoughts and emotions. I read through the first couple entries of his diary, and it broke my heart. The diary was all about my infidelity and how my husband was processing it. Looking at the dates that were listed, he discovered my affair about a month after it became physical. I quickly locked his phone and hid it. When he came out of the shower, I helped him look for the phone I hid. My husband has a work phone and a personal phone, so he was unfazed about not being able to find it. He was on a time crunch and left the house with only his work phone. I called off work and read each diary entry. I feel like I may vomit. Almost each entry for the first 3 months he discovered my affair were about how he planned on making her fall in love with me again. He had detailed in this diary the plans he had to make me forget about Nick. He talked about taking us on a week-long vacation so I couldn't see him, how he bought my favorite flowers and cooked my favorite dish. But I continued to see Nick. As the time went on and I continued to tell lies to my husband, he would write in the diary about how his resolve is beginning to waver, how he's becoming depressed and feels so lonely and unloved. After 3 months, the diary entries become wholly about his depression and how he cries every time he knows I'm with Nick. He writes how every night before falling asleep, he has visuals of Nick's body on top of mine, and how the visuals make him feel physically ill. He keeps writing in his diary how he doesn't want our daughter to grow up with divorced parents like he did. There's a diary entry from 1 month ago that stopped me in my tracks, though. In the entry, my husband talks about how one night when I was with Nick and he put our daughter to bed, he was crying to himself like usual, but the tears stopped flowing. He says that his body finally stopped producing tears for his failed marriage. He says this night was the night the Band-Aid fully came off. In this entry, he talks about how this 6-month-long process felt like a Band-Aid on his soul was slowly being pulled off, and how now the Band-Aid was finally off, he felt a wave of relief, like he finally got over me. 2 weeks ago, he had another diary entry. In this one, he talks about how he wants to arrange to meet an escort girl. He writes that he doesn't know how to start an affair, but having sex with someone other than his wife will be an interesting experience. My husband knows my cheating schedule. He's planned on meeting this escort sometime that I'm with Nick. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm at such a loss. I'm so ashamed of myself. The whole I kept telling myself that no one was getting hurt, that this affair would run its course and life would go back to normal. I never realized the pain and suffering that I put my husband through. I've cheated on him so many times, and he's suffered through it. What can I do now? I'm never going to cheat on my husband again, but it's probably too late to have this realization for me. Where do I go? What can I do? I know many of you will say some horrible things about me, and that's okay. But please help me save the marriage I ruined. Edit. Knowing he wants someone else is killing me, and it's giving me a peek into what he experienced for those long months. I hope we can find a way to salvage this wreck I have caused. I'm hoping he will be able to save our marriage, but considering what I've put him through, I'm going to let him dictate the terms of our future. Also, I tried to have a conversation with myself to figure some stuff out, but it really never goes anywhere. I will most likely seek counseling to discover the root causes behind my behavior. Thank you for the advice. Comments. You've killed your marriage. You're both basically going through the motions at this point. There will be no recovering from this. You can admit to things now, but I doubt it will do any good. Congrats on being a giant piece of shit. Unfortunately, there's likely no way of saving your marriage. The karmic bill will come due. Until then, try and do the right thing. Tell him the truth, stop cheating, or file for divorce. No one deserves that. You should decide on how to proceed together. Seems like you've done enough solo, in my opinion. Story 2. I have always been loyal to a fault. Some would say that was one of my best qualities. However, things have changed, and now loyalty doesn't mean what it used to me. I met my husband 15 years ago. We were high school sweethearts. We dated for a year, and then I moved 1,000 miles away. I don't believe in long-distance relationships, so I broke up with him. Eventually he got married, and I got married. Eventually we both got divorced. We met up in 2011 thanks to Facebook. It was as if I had gone back in time. It was love all over again, and we were inseparable. In 2012, we moved in together and got married, bringing our families together. I had 2 kids from my marriage, and he had 1. In 2013, we had our daughter. Life seemed good. I stayed home with the kids, and he worked, which we both agreed upon before I quit my job. Since he worked hard for our family, I didn't mind that he spent a large quantity of time playing his hobby, Magic the Gathering. He would go out a few nights a week and come back fairly late. I trusted him. I never thought anything of it. In May of 2014, that all changed. His ex-girlfriend from long ago messaged me randomly, letting me know that they had been sleeping together on and off for almost 2 years. I didn't believe her at first. My husband wasn't the type. Of course, the seed of doubt was sown, and I checked his phone and computer. What I found shocked me. Not only was he seeing his ex-girlfriend, but he had a secret FetLife account. I was shocked, completely blown away. Our relationship seemed fine. We had sex almost daily, and I gladly participated in his kinks since they were my kinks too. I gave him space when he needed it. I cleaned out home, took care of all the children, ran all the errands, and expected very little from him since he worked hard. He seemed happy, and when he finally admitted to the cheating, he begged me to stay. I didn't want to at first, but I'm getting older and have 1 failed marriage already on my track record. I have no want to start over again, and I have no want in opening the relationship. He has been unfaithful for the last 5 months, and he has not contacted his AP at all since I monitor him very closely. I've only ever been with 4 men in my life. I'm 30 years old and have only experienced 4 dicks. I've never gotten off from sex. This prick who's been with dozens upon dozens of women got to dip his dick all over town, while I believed he was monogamous. Well, now I feel I have a right to see what else is out there sexually. I'm selfish. I'm going to keep monitoring him, but I want to do what he got to do. I think about cheating all the time. I want to know what it would be like to be with another man, to get butterflies again. For someone to make passionate love to me instead of just screwing. And to maybe just screw, too. I made an OkCupid account and was 100% honest that I was married and had no intentions of leaving my husband. I've gotten hundreds of messages in the span of 2 days. I was smart and took a body shot with my face cropped out, which I guess men find intriguing. The only reason I cropped my face is because I know my husband's brother is on OkCupid. and I'm not sure if he would tell. His brother had shown me pictures of his dick recently, and I may have shared some nudes with him as well. We shared in person, of course, so the pics can't be traced back. I wish I could screw his brother. He would be the perfect AP. That seems drama-inducing, though, and I would prefer to not rip his family apart. So now I'm having a conundrum. I've spoken to a few of the men who have messaged me, but I'm still not 100% if I want to do this. I'm scared. Not of being caught. I honestly don't care if I were to be caught. But of another person seeing me naked. I've had 3 kids. I look great with clothes on, but I have a saggy stomach and stretch marks from pregnancy. It would suck to finally get to sex and a potential AP to be completely turned off. Of course, this is probably just my shattered self-esteem from my SO cheating on me. I've always felt beautiful, but now, I want to do this. I don't want to do this. I want to do this. At the end of the day, is it worth it? Am I missing out on great sexual experiences? Comments. Speaking only for myself, the fact that you've never cheated on him only makes you seem hotter. I'm sure it'd mean you'd be nervous but very excited, which is an awesome combination. Means you'd probably end up enjoying it more than you thought you would, and there's nothing more beautiful than a woman really, really enjoying sex. My dear, you're going to have fun. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You are in an enviable position. You really don't have to worry about getting caught or feeling guilty. And you're a young woman. You should be picky, not just about looks, but about how your AP makes you feel. You should feel adored and lusted after. Have fun.